Let's bring in Tommy Curran. He's the Patriots insider, NBC Sports Boston. Do you have an opinion on that? Mr. Kraft saying that Tom Brady is the greatest player of all time?
I thought your summation was outstanding. You can argue both sides. You can look at what Jerry Rice did, and they're Ruthian. The numbers are Ruthian in terms of touchdowns, catches, single-season career, whatever you want. But then if you want to talk historically and compiling, Brady has more than 2 seasons, on his way to 2.5 seasons worth of postseason games. Mm-hmm. So does that set him apart? I mean, he's 38 games in. It's insane. So I don't have necessarily a quote-unquote hard take, but I've always felt that Jerry Rice was the greatest player ever, but I certainly think that Brady is the greatest quarterback because you can measure it.
This underdog message, it feels like that the team has embraced it now. Do you think Kansas City's buying into this, that, New England's coming in as underdog? Technically, they are 3-point underdogs, but do you think Kansas City is buying into this as well, that, these aren't the artists formerly known as the Patriots?
No, because they're just looking at the recent stuff. And what they did last week to San Diego was embarrassing for San Diego and made everybody sit up straight and say, well, they're different now, which they did suck during the year. I don't understand why the media, especially locally, we chewed them up. We chewed them up all year. They suck on the run defense. They did a bad job roster building. Brady's fallen away from throws. Gronkowski's hurt in the shell of himself. So when Brady says everybody thinks we suck as a catch-all phrase, it was, well, nobody actually said suck. So I don't understand why they're so uptight. We killed them all year long. I don't blame them at all. But I think that Kansas City looks at them and says, my God, look at what they just did to this team that beat us at home. We're screwed. Not screwed, but.
Yeah, but so Brady's talking more to the local media. I don't know if the national media looked at the Patriots. Now, I just said they're more vulnerable this year than they ever have been. But with Brady and Belichick, I would never bet against them. So I don't know if this is more of a local narrative than it is a national one, that we look at them as somehow big underdogs.
Well, you're close enough to hear, and you've done this long enough where you know that our market is a strange one, and the success eventually had an expiration date up here, to the point where the Boston Red Sox were wire-to-wire winners practically, or maybe did set a record for most regular season wins. I can't remember. And every single step they took was, let's see how they do when they get into the postseason. Well, they're not going to beat the Yankees. Well, they're not going to beat the Astros. So it's this drumbeat of negativity that just continues to churn, because that's you can't have a parade every day after every win. But we've almost pinned the needle so far in the other direction where, Sony Michel was said to suck up until around week 10, and they still stand on that. Some local radio and prominent folks here, a lot of them.
What do you think happens this weekend in Kansas City?
I think the Patriots are going to win, Dan. I think that America is going to just, again, say, why? Patrick Mahomes is so much fun. We could have had Tyreek Hill. Why? Andy Reid, poor Andy Reid. But they're going to get another dose of Belichick and Brady, and I think the reason for that is health. It has nothing to do with anything but they feel better. And that's why the drop-off, I think, in 2018 from 2017. What they did in the Super Bowl was insane. I think a lot of the reason they lost that game was a personnel decision with Malcolm Butler. Yeah. So they should have been back-to-back Super Bowl winners. And then this year they play underwhelmingly. They didn't overnight get old. They got hurt.
And, we always talk about Belichick. He takes away your best weapon. Well, I wasn't sure who that best weapon is on Kansas City. Is it Patrick Mahomes or is it Tyreek Hill? And if it's Tyreek Hill, how do you take him out of his comfort zone here? Because it feels like that's where the game could be won or lost.
They haven't done it in either meeting. 2017 opener, 2018. He's got about 266 yards receiving. He's got 4 touchdowns. Devin McCourty's their fastest player. He scored 2 touchdowns on him where he just ran away from him, 75-yard touchdown. So you have to station somebody way back away from the line of scrimmage and just try and corral him. But the reason the Patriots lost those games is their inability to stop those huge 50-yard-plus plays. I think that most coaches can go into a game and say, let's try and not give up a 60-yard bomb, and the defense can say, yeah, I think we can do that. Against Kansas City, they make that happen, regardless of how many precautions you put in.
How's Gronk? Is there any chance Gronk is a threat as a receiver?
Yes. And, again, just to go back to that game, and, again, it was week 6, but he took over that game late. Only had 3 catches, but Kansas City eventually lost track of him, and he had the 2 catches which set up the game-winning field goal for Steven Gostkowski. Yeah, he can be a threat, and when you look at how well he blocked last week, that was the role that he had, and he still doesn't get available in the red zone necessarily. I don't know why he's not as quick as he had been, because he was very quick last year, but I do think that he's in a much better spot than he has been, both mentally and physically, than he has been the entire year.
He's Tommy Curran. He covers Patriots, NBC Sports Boston, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. If you could know the full, true answer to just one of these, which one would you pick? Why Malcolm Butler was benched in the Super Bowl, or who orchestrated the Jimmy Garoppolo trade?
Butler, completely. Because I got a pretty good handle on the Garoppolo thing. You want to know what happened?
Okay.
They had no plan. Brady screwed everything up by playing out of his mind from 2014 to 2017. The plan was to move on from Brady after 2017, and he played so well that in the 2017 season, when Garoppolo's contract was coming up, Don Yee is the agent for Brady and Garoppolo, so he had the insight into Tom's not going anywhere. So, Jimmy, when they try and slide to you a $14 million contract that will accelerate if you become the starter, you're probably not going to want to take that. You'll do better on the open market. So they could never get to a point where they could convince him. They could franchise him for $24 million, but how's that going to go over with Brady, who's making $15 million? There was just nothing they could do. So while people say, well, Robert Kraft told Bill Belichick to trade him, I think it's more of, well, we're going to have to do something here soon. Sure would hate to see Tom go anywhere. Yeah, well. And then he comes back in and says, trade him for a 2. You did what? A 2? So he said we had to move on, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so what happened with Malcolm Butler? Why don't we know what happened?
I wanted to know that.
Why don't we know why he got benched?
Because I think it has to do with interpersonal relations. And what I think is fascinating is that whatever happened that irritated so badly Bill Belichick and maybe the rest of the coaching staff that wound up with him benched, that Malcolm Butler was complicit in keeping his mouth shut about it. Look, no matter how you slice it, I don't care how ill-prepared Malcolm Butler may have been during that week or where his head was. Johnson Batamosi and the other dingbat there, Jordan Richards, being on the field, cost the Patriots the football game. Yeah. Now, would Malcolm Butler have saved it? I don't know for sure, but he's a much better player, so he could have. So why wouldn't Butler do anything but say, yeah, well, they made a decision. It was disappointing. It sucks, but here I am in Tennessee. And why wouldn't the Patriots say anything but, he just didn't fit into any of our packages? I mean, here's the one crazy thing, and I don't want to go on too long. But instead of benching him, they dressed him and they played him for one play on a punt, indiscriminate punt during the game, so they could say that he wasn't benched. So they gave themselves plausible deniability as saying that it was packages, which just didn't work out. So in some way, it was related to some kind of discipline about which everybody has sewn their jaws shut about.
Pretty incredible. Really is. One of the great mysteries. Everything is kept inside, in-house there in New England. It'll eventually get out, right?
It'll eventually get out, and I think that nobody is able to. There's bridges too far that we can't go across, but there are plenty of rumors, speculation, etc., which I'll be happy to tell you about in Atlanta.
Thank you. If the Patriots win the Super Bowl, who retires?
Me. No, I'm at it. I'm too young for that. I would say Gronk retires
Not hashtag Tommy.
No, not hashtag Tommy.
Yeah. I'll see you in Atlanta.
Wait a second. That didn't sound like you want him to leave?
No. It's a great story if he continues to play. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the underdog now. He went from the greatest player of all time to an underdog. The scrappy, gritty, gutty, late draft pick. Nobody gave him a chance. Look at him.
Flat circle, baby. Time. You know how it is.
He's the modern day Rudy, is what he is. It's going to be. They're going to do a movie on Tommy. You
wait long enough, everything comes around, Dan.
I know.
Hey, I'll see you in Atlanta. Let's get crunk, okay?
No, let's not. I might. No. Paulie, would you Google that? What's that mean? I'm going to do.
Will do.
Yeah, that might not be good. Are you going to be in Atlanta if the Patriots aren't in Atlanta?
Sure I am. It's the epicenter of the football world.
Okay, all right. I just put that out there. I'll be there no matter what. I didn't know if yours was attached to hashtag number 12.
No, I'll be going.
TB12.
So I'll see you down there, kid.
Okay, Tommy. And then,
real good.
All right. And then that's Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston. And then we'll get Crunk. I'm going to guess that's drunk.
It's an offshoot of Gronk.
Oh, we're going to get Gronk? We're going to get Crunk?
It's different in Boston. Crunk is something different other places.
Yeah. I'm going to have to, when I talk to Future later today, I'm going to ask him about that. See what he thinks.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.